I'm so excited for our conversation today. So, we're going to be talking all about how to plan your coaching sessions. I remember when I first discovered coaching, I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I meant to do. I was already posting motivational and inspirational content online, but I felt like the effort that I was putting out wasn't matching the abundance that was coming in. And then I discovered the world of coaching where I realized I could really get paid for my gifts, really help people transform, help them shift. And I didn't want to go into it like not doing it properly. I didn't want to start working with clients and have them upset with me or not get the transformation that they invested for. And so I went on a hunt to find out, how do I actually plan a coaching session? How do I do this right? And so this is what we're going to deep dive into our conversation today. So if you're watching, this is perfect for you if you're a new coach and you want to make sure that you're doing things right from the start, or if you're already an experienced coach, you're working with clients, but you feel like you want to be able to go deeper. Maybe they're having blocks and limiting beliefs that you can't seem to tap into and help your clients shift. This conversation is going to help you so much. And I have one of our trainers and social media manager here, Jess. Hi, Jess.
Hey, Reese. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Me
Seriously.
too. What's your story actually, and what got you into wanting to learn about like how to plan your coaching sessions and how to go through your sessions correctly, how to structure them so that you knew you were offering a great experience?
Great question, because as you were talking, I was already thinking about when I found you, you were talking about this and how that is exactly what I needed at the time, because I had started a coaching business and I was, sharing my message with people and doing soul aligned work, which I was so excited about. But internally, I didn't really have peace with it because I was feeling like an imposter. Two reasons. One of which was I would panic before I would go on a session and kind of be manically thinking, what do I need to prepare? And that would lead me away from my intuition. And I think you speak
Right.
really beautifully on that. So can't wait to get into that. And the other thing is that on the sessions, we would have great conversations and I would feel my client was, having great reframes and breakthroughs, but I felt like there was something missing and that was knocking my confidence. So I was experiencing those things in my coaching business. And then I found Yes Supply. And you spoke about planning the coaching sessions and then also having the tools and the insight to be able to guide them in a certain way. And that's why I signed up, because I knew that was the missing piece in my business.
Absolutely. And it doesn't just stop you from doing your best in your sessions with your paying clients. It actually stops you from creating more abundance. Because if you're self-conscious about if your sessions are actually good, if your coaching is actually good, you're not going to feel aligned selling. You're going to block yourself
It's
from
so true.
selling and making
And
offers.
And I don't know if anyone watching this who has a coaching business at whatever stage you're at, but in the early days of my coaching business, I would see these like peaks in income and then these big drops and then these peaks and these drops. And it was really to do with my confidence, because I would launch something and get clients and then I'd have them in a container and my confidence would drop because I didn't feel like I was giving what I really wanted them to have. So
Yeah.
then I wouldn't feel as confident to sell, exactly like you just said.
Yeah, yeah, that's what made me want to dive into the subconscious tools that we teach in the certification, because a lot of coaching certifications out there, yes, you get certified as a mindset coach or success coach, but all you're really learning is how to ask powerful questions and how to reframe, which
Right.
it can be helpful, but there's so much more you can do when you understand the subconscious mind, because
So
the
much.
subconscious mind is what's running 95% of every single thing that we do. So when you bring subconscious reprogramming into your coaching, you're 95% more effective.
Absolutely. And for me, once I had that, everything just clicked into place for my clients, more importantly. Like, yes, for me, but for my clients, I would see these big shifts happening in their lives. And because they had released something on the session or integrated a part. And that really was when I started to feel like I know this is what I'm meant to be doing. And I think sometimes for me, my personality type, planning doesn't feel as, I don't know, for want of a better word, sexy, as the rest of my business felt really fun and I wanted to be in it. And talking about planning my sessions felt like I don't want it to be too contained. But the way you teach on it, Reese, and I think it'd be really great if you speak about it planned enough so that you have a structure, but there's also room for your intuition and your guidance to come in. So what would you say to anyone who's sort of where I was in that moment, where I knew I needed something, but I was a bit, planning felt a bit alien to me?
Yeah, I think what we could do today is we could just run through what that outline is. So anyone who's watching or listening can just walk away with like a tangible step-by-step plan. And also too, on our website, we have a $12 planning session spreadsheet. So if you want to get this all laid out for you, you can access it for only $12. We have a version for if you're not a certified coach or if you're a certified coach, because, both can coach, but why I got certified and all of the incredible tools that I now know, and I know you as well, is because I wanted to be really great at what I was doing. I wanted to be the best at what I was doing. So I invested in myself. So I believe your coaching session actually starts before you even get on your coaching session. So it's so important to check in with your energy first and foremost, because only 7% of our communication is our words. The other 93% is our energy, right? So it's the tone that we're speaking, it's the eye contact that we're making, it's the confidence, how we're holding our shoulders back, our facial expressions. All of these things tie into our communication. So even if you're saying everything perfectly, but you're not really there, you're not present, you're thinking about the text that you got this morning, or you're thinking about the mean comment from YouTube or whatever is going on in your life, your client's going to feel that energy and they're not going to walk away with that same heightened vibration that they want to have at the end of the session. So it's so good to do your own self-care. So that could look like tapping into the energy that you want with meditation, with a visualization, with EFT tapping. We have so many great tools in the app. Like the app is perfect to just hop in, raise your vibration, and then hop into your coaching session. But what I would say is whatever tool works for you, make sure that you're using the tool to get into the vibration of the coach that you want to be. Think about that self-image. Think about that identity, right? It's like, I'm a leader. I can hold space. I create transformation. Even if my clients have achieved more than me or they're further along than me, I can still coach them through. I can still be that support that they need. Because when you go into your session with that energy and that confidence, it's going to transfer over to them before you've even said a word. Once you're right before the session too, it can be a really good idea to prepare your notes. So if this is like an ongoing client you're working with week after week, look at what you talked about last week. If there was any limiting beliefs that had come up from the previous week that you might want to work on today, or if they mentioned there was a certain identity or energy or belief system that they wanted to step into, good idea to review that so it's fresh in your mind to bring into the conversation. And then, of course, if there's any action items, right? So manifestation, yes, sometimes we manifest just by closing our eyes and visualizing, and that's beautiful. But a lot of the time, manifestation also requires inspired action. So you want to look at, what did you and your client talk about last week? Did they say they were going to take action on certain things? So you can ask them about that this week. So if they said, I'm going to post on Instagram 5 times, or I'm going to prepare my slide deck for that investor, whatever it is, this can be a good time to see, did they actually take action? And if they're not taking action, then with the client, you can dive into, are they not taking action because they don't know the how, or are they not taking the action because they still have limiting beliefs around it, which then you can go ahead and work on in the session. So it's such a good idea to review and prepare. And then once you're there on the call with your client, in the first 5 to 10 minutes, this is where you can build rapport. So you're going to use your sensory acuity, which we teach in our certification. You're going to use your senses to tune into, how is the client? So you can pick up on this from the words that they're saying and also from their body language. And we talk about this a lot in the Supply method, like how to tune into the communication that's not actually being communicated through words. Because we all know, we've all been there when we say, I'm fine, but we're not fine, right? And so our client might be the same. So if they're saying I'm fine, but their body language is saying otherwise, this can be a good indicator of what type of space we need to hold in a call so that they can get the most out of our time together. So spend the first 5 to 10 minutes building rapport. And then also too, you can match and mirror their energy and lead them into a better energy. So even if they start off the call being like, I'm fine, I'm good, them getting in coherence with your energy already can start to help them feel better. After you're in rapport, you're really connected on an energetic level, that's going to help them be more transparent, open, honest, vulnerable for the whole rest of the call, which is going to lead to a better call. And then this is where it's such a great time to dive into asking questions. So we can ask questions to understand more about any situation that they're in or that they're going through. So maybe something's happening with their boyfriend, something's happening with their business, their career, their diet, their relationship, their friends, their parents, their kids. It could be anything, right? So you're gonna ask questions so that you can understand the situation as a coach, but you're also gonna ask questions to understand their model of the world. So as you're asking questions, you can listen to what's happening. Like my boyfriend said this or my kids did that, but you can also pick up on what's happening within the client, right? Because as much as it is about the story that's happening with the other person, there's also so much happening within them. So what emotions are they feeling? What limiting beliefs do they have? What identities are they holding on to? Are they holding on to patterns of the past? Are they holding on to habits of the past that could be making this problem like really big for them? And when you understand that, you can help them break it down and make it more manageable. Because it's so interesting, this is how our subconscious mind works. Two people can go through the exact same thing and process it completely different. Like one person can get a mean comment on YouTube and be like, I'm not even going to think about that. I'm going to move forward with their day. Never think about it again. Where another person can get the exact same comment on YouTube and it completely derails them, right? They said I'm ugly. They said my content doesn't make sense. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe they're right. Maybe it doesn't make sense, right? And so it's not always about the outside thing that's happening. It's also how is it affecting that person? And when we understand that, then in the rest of the coaching session, we can give them the shifts in their belief system, the releasing of limiting beliefs, the more resilient identity or emotion, so that regardless of the comment on YouTube, regardless of what the boyfriend or the parent said, they can move forward and be resilient. Because in life, there is going to be ups and downs, but it's how resilient you are and how much you're focused and expecting the best case scenario rather than the worst case scenario that's actually going to help you move through it from a place of faith. So the questions are so important. They're more than just asking a bunch of random questions and hoping that they have an aha moment. I've done so many courses and certifications, and one certification was like, ask questions until they have an aha moment. You can do so much more than that with questions. Yeah. So you ask questions to understand what's happening within them in terms of their beliefs, their emotions, what's happening with their strategies, with their patterns. And then that's going to prepare you for the next section of your call. So in the next section of your call, how we teach it at Yes Supply is this is where we really do the change work. Through the questions you picked up on what beliefs, emotions, patterns are holding them back. And in the change work section, you can release that. And then you can also work with the client through questioning to figure out what beliefs, self-image, emotions, habits, strategies, values can help them move forward into being the person that they want to be. And in this change work area of the call, could be 20 to 30 minutes, can be longer, even if you have longer calls, you can actually support them with reprogramming their subconscious mind. So now they walk away from their call and they're like, I am resilient. I am a leader. I am confident. I am successful. I am rich. I am abundant. I am lovable, whatever it is that they want to feel inside, but they're struggling to believe. And that is so powerful. Like it's so beautiful to witness the shifts and what 100%. Long-term effect people can have from a 5-10 minute technique, because we're working on the subconscious level rather than on just the conscious level, like talking to them and hoping to get a aha moment. We're actually reprogramming it on such a deep level. And then towards the last 10 minutes of a call, this can be a great time to let the client know the call's about to end soon. So let the client know that, because they might want to plan out what do they want to do between this call and the next call. Like maybe there's some action items, action steps that they can take to move forward, whether it's if they're starting a business, maybe it's securing their Instagram account or getting started on their website or developing their product. If it's a relationship, maybe they're getting on a dating app or getting a new dress they feel confident on dates on. If it's health, maybe they're signing up for that gym or they're planning their grocery list, whatever it is, you and your client can work on that together. But I do believe it's important to get the client involved in the steps, because when it feels like it's their idea, they're going to be that much more likely to take action. And also in that last 10 minutes, you just want to check for ecology. So just make sure that they feel like safe to get off the call, especially if you might have unearthed some trauma during the call. This could be if they needed a great time to refer out, call a hotline if they are like in a negative state. And this is why in our certification, we also prepare our coaches with a crisis protocol, so that if working through certain techniques unearth certain trauma, the coach knows exactly what to do and how to refer out. And we also have a free package of intake forms and trauma screening forms for anyone who wants. So we'll make sure we link that too.
Yes, I think that if anyone's just listened to that, they should probably rewind it and get their notebook, or just make sure they join the thing, because I was trying to like zoom out while I was there, while I was listening to you, and imagine if I had listened to that when I was in those stages of just felt like I was winging it on my coaching sessions.
Right.
And that's like so calming to go like, here's a structure, but within the structure, there's room for you to also have your magic and your intuitive, powers as well. And I think if we just circle back for a second to prior to the session, how you show up, I think one time you said something like, how you feel before the call can really impact how the call will go. And I think that's something we forget a lot, is how our energy impacts everything. And I know inside the Yes Supply method, like the team, we have that as a value. When I'm sending an email, I'll be thinking what energy I want to send it in when I'm showing up for any call, because we've learned that so powerfully. I guess what I want people to know is, if they're having a really hard time in life, right? Or if they're having a lot going on, some of our students will sometimes come to us and say, how can I coach when this part of my life is falling apart? Or this is really difficult and I feel like an imposter, I feel like a fraud. I'd love you to speak on that, preparing for the session, and can you still do these sessions? Can you still run this when life seems like it's kind of going a bit crazy, or things are going wrong, or what do you need to do in those situations?
We have this as like a bonus question on our test, and I feel like this comes up so much, but I have like 100 different responses for this question. One of the ones that's coming to the top of my mind is like, I saw this post actually where it says like a tree. If you think about a tree that bears fruit, the tree gets sunlight and the tree gets water, but it gives fruit. It grows mangoes or apples or whatever. And the mangoes and the apples are for the passerbys. It's not for themselves, right? So we can still be going through something in life and taking the lessons from it and still help others. Right? We don't have to put our whole career and business on hold because we're going through personal stuff. But I think what's so important is being in integrity with it, in the sense that you're doing your own personal work. So, for me, for the longest time ever, I'm navigating the ups and downs of like moving to the States and dealing with visas, and we're getting surprises and we're getting all this paperwork and blah blah blah. So I'm navigating things in my own life, and when I'm feeling like overwhelmed or frustrated about it, I'm pulling out my journal, I'm doing a meditation, I'm doing a visualization, I'm doing EFT tapping all the time. I'm doing EFT tapping,
getting that
right? I get the app. I'm doing EFT tapping, and so it's like, I think oftentimes there's a misconception that being a coach means life is perfect. Being a coach doesn't mean life is perfect. Being a coach means you're equipping yourself and you're equipping others with the tools to navigate when life isn't perfect. With the trust and the faith and the expectation that it's going to get better, it's going to get perfect, things are going to work out, I'm going to live in Florida, like whatever it is. But knowing that there are things that you navigate on the way, and like some of the decisions that I've made, or like having to sit down and do certain paperwork, that's like outside of my old comfort zone, but that's an opportunity for growth, right? So we're going to do the things that stretch us, that feel uncomfortable, that feel like growth, to get to the next level. And then the
Yeah.
learnings that we take from it, that's actually our best content. Some of the reflections that I have when I'm doing a parts integration or I'm doing an NEE, I'm like, I was doing my own personal work and this was the takeaway that I got. Like, that is a great YouTube video, blog post, or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Although I would love for everything to be perfect for everyone, it's often like when things aren't perfect and we can move through it and gain a lesson, that is actually something that is worth sharing with other people.
I totally agree. And I'm glad I learnt that through the Supply method, because then when I've navigated things in my own life, imagine I went through a divorce, and imagine I didn't show up for anyone during that time. That would have been so sad, because my work was still able to thrive because of the tools I had learned. And you're so right. Actually, if anything, it made it better, because
Mm-hmm.
I was also the embodiment of the work that I was doing. So I think
Yeah.
that's super powerful.
And you showed up for your son so beautifully too.
Oh
And
yeah.
you're teaching him like how to use his tools because like hopefully everything in life is perfect for him. But you know,
Mm.
teenagers growing up, there's social media now, there's
Yeah.
bullying, there's who knows. So I think like coming back to we don't know how AI and all this stuff is going to take over, but we do know that when we're resilient, that's like the tool that's going to get us through.
So
So
true.
like modeling that to our kids is like when I think problem solving and resilience and like thinking outside the box are the biggest things that we can give our kids.
That's so true. And one of the things I learned through my divorce and connecting it with this work is the ability to stay regulated is what really helped me be able to show up and serve still.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe some days it took a bit longer than it used to, but it didn't stop me showing up. And I think when we hear questions like that of students, I get it, because you feel like you have to put on a show. So I think anybody listening who heard you just say to be a coach doesn't mean you have to have it all together all the time. Like, I hope that's calming for them, because it's so true. Well, that would be crazy, actually.
Yeah, and that's the power of these tools as well. Because, like, before I got certified, I thought coaching was I learn something and I just teach others to do that. Whereas that's more of like a teacher or a strategist or a
Mm,
consultant. But with coaching, what we're actually doing is we're looking at where is this person now and where do they want to be and how can they get there and what are the things getting in their way. So it's really dependent on the person in front of you. So when you have the power to like powerfully ask questions and to understand their limiting beliefs, their own blocks and limitations that are getting in their way, that is actually the most powerful coaching,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So, and when you know the subconscious tools, we can look at like, oh yeah, you have this block around money because your mother had this block around money, or you have this block around making new connections because your father had this block around making new connections. And so you can reprogram them to, you know, connect or make money or sell or whatever it is that they want to do. So now they're acting in that way habitually without needing to force it. Because at the end of the day, especially now, like in 2025, when we're filming this, everyone knows the steps. Like you can go on
Yeah.
Chat GBT and ask it, like, what are the steps? Everybody knows the steps. So it's really coming to the forefront that if someone is or isn't in the place that they want to be, it's because of the subconscious blocks, because the
Yeah.
steps are actually there.
It's so true. And a student recently, I was on one of our cohort calls helping the team, and a student needed a partner, and she did a technique with me on getting my place with my son in London, which I was super nervous to do, and I was holding myself back, and I didn't believe it was possible. And she helped me using the tools. It was so beautiful to see. She wasn't even graduated yet, using the
Aw.
tools. I went in thinking, I'm just going to do this EFT on this. She listened using the tools, found a route that I wasn't even aware of,
Wow.
released it with me, did the most beautiful EFT session with me. I had tears streaming down my eyes. And now, as we sit here, I have a place I'm moving next month. And it's been
Okay.
18 months, and she did this. She did this last month, right? So I
Wow.
knew what I needed to do to get a place. That wasn't the problem. The problem
Exactly.
was my internal blocks, and that coach, Crystal, was able to identify that through the language that you learn in the Supply method as well. The tools, of course, I came for the tools. They're incredible. But I think sometimes we forget the power of that understanding of language and what people are saying and how they're saying it and what it means in their reality. And I think that's really important. And we can also recognize then that just like the tree, we can be that coach for people, even if we're struggling in our own lives at that time.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. And congrats on the place. It's so
Thank
funny
you.
how, like, when we line up our energy, the synchronicities just like line
I
up.
know. I know. It's so beautiful to see. And I must shout out Crystal for doing our EFT with we actually have a YouTube video with Crystal too.
Yeah.
Speaking about her experience, she just recently graduated and she was the one who worked through it with me. So thank you, Crystal.
Yeah, a therapist slash coach. So she's got
Yeah,
a great
she did
toolkit
a
now.
really amazing job and just implemented it so beautifully. So I think what I'm hearing from this whole conversation and remembering is that if you want to be great and like that world class coach in your field or leader, really it takes more than winging it, but it's also about how you show up. You don't need to wing it because there's systems, there's rhythms, there's energies in this planning that allow you to be your magic, but also guarantee transformation for your clients.
Absolutely. And I think there's never been a better time to be a subconscious reprogramming coach because everyone knows you need to reprogram your subconscious mind. Like everyone's saying, you need to reprogram your subconscious mind. Very few people actually know how to do it. So, when you can go through this training and actually know how to do it for yourself and see the results, just like you were saying, and then create the results for others, it's so powerful. And the right client who knows that it's a subconscious block that's getting in their way, they're going to say yes.
Absolutely. And it's funny because you said everybody knows. And I felt like recently it was my auntie's friend, had told my mom that, oh, I see Jess is doing subconscious mind reprogramming, which I've been doing for 5 years, right? And it's just come on her radar because somebody else had been talking about it. And she was like, well, I did it and I've reprogrammed my subconscious mind through this, and this. And so I called her and I said, okay, like, what do you want some help? Like, I've got some resources, some videos. And she said, I've already done it. I found Reese on YouTube.
Ah, that's awesome.
Because I was thinking, well, I want to make sure, like, if I don't let anyone just touch my subconscious mind, like, I want to make
Totally.
sure you're working with, like, the right tools and the right people. And so I just burst out laughing. Should I found Reese's YouTube channel? I've been tapping every day. I said, oh, well, okay. In that case, you're good.
Good. That's good. And I love tapping, and our tapping is reaching so many people, but I feel like tapping is a good first step and a good ongoing tool, but there's just so much more.
I
Like
agree.
inside the app, there's just like the complete understanding of reprogramming your subconscious mind. Because there's EFT will reprogram your subconscious mind, but it can be that much more powerful when you first ask yourself, like, what is my yes? What is my vision? How do I want my life to look? And then you start reprogramming your subconscious mind in that direction. So the Yes It's Yours app is perfect for that. We've been getting great testimonials. I just launched a new album inside the app all around attracting your dream body. And someone was saying she was going through the subliminal and it eliminated her food noise. So before she was like
Wow.
thinking about food all day and she's like, I'm drinking more water and it eliminated my food noise after doing like one exercise.
Wow.
So that's a powerful like first step to dip your toes in and really understand the subconscious. And then of course the certification, if anyone's wanting to do this for themselves and others, is the perfect place to go.
Perfect. And don't forget also if you've listened to Reese talk about planning your coaching session, we'll put the links in, but you can do the masterclass and the $12 coaching planner that will give you everything you need to show up prepared, powerful, and in your zone of genius so that you can be the coaching master you're meant to be.